More than a playing card, it's now a field of battle, it would seem. James Bezan is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Defense and joins us from Winnipeg. Sir, all kinds of developments. It seems that things have boiled over yet again in Ukraine. What are your latest thoughts?
Well, it's really disgusting to see how this is played out by the Yanukovych government, how they've targeted innocent protesters that, for the most part, have been extremely peaceful, that there is now reports of upwards of 60 peaceful protesters and police that had been killed in the clashes this week. And, you know, at the same time, we're extremely skeptical of any move or a proclamation of a truce coming from Yanukovych's office. This is an individual who said that he was going to sign the agreement with Europe for closer economic and trade relations, and then just 2 days before the Vilnius agreement was supposed to be signed, walked away from it and crawled into bed with Vladimir Putin and the Russian government. And he's the man that has said that we're going to have peace on the streets as long as there's an amnesty offered to all protesters. And just when protesters started to leave government buildings earlier this week, he escalated the violence. So Canada is extremely concerned about the situation. We condemn all the violence, but we want to hold everyone to account. Minister Baird has been in very close communications with all his European counterparts, especially with Poland, and also talking to the United States. And as Prime Minister Harper and President Obama said yesterday, coming from Mexico, that we are going to hold everyone to account that has created so much bloodshed, unnecessary violence, and Yanukovych cannot rule by just being brutal. We have to move towards respecting democracy and the civil liberties of these great Ukrainian people.
What are our diplomatic options, though? For instance, we don't have a lot of trade with Ukraine.
Yeah, from a Canadian standpoint, other than having a very large Ukrainian community here in Canada of 1.2 million Canadians, and I'm proud to call myself a Ukrainian Canadian and proud of my heritage, but we're all extremely disappointed in how things have escalated over the last few months in Ukraine. So it is coming back to the reality that Canada is going to continue to lead. We are the first country to come up with a major initiative in putting in a travel ban on high-level ranking authorities from Ukraine. We are looking at expanding the sanctions against the Ukraine, but in reality, most of the money that the oligarchs and the Yanukovych government has had in their personal bank accounts are in bank accounts in Germany, in Switzerland, in London, in Paris, in Cyprus, and Austria. And so essentially the European Union, if we want to start really getting the attention of the leadership in Ukraine, they're going to have to move in lockstep with Canada and other like-minded nations.
Are we currently providing aid at all to the protesters?
Yeah, so that is a great point, and it was part of our budget, and we've increased the amount of funding now available to provide medical aid to all of the peaceful protesters that have been hurt. There's now hundreds of people across Ukraine, not just in Kiev. These clashes are taking place in cities from east to the west, and from Kharkiv and Donetsk all the way to Lviv. And so we are providing medical supplies to help with the field hospitals that have been set up. Everybody is scared to go into their regular hospitals now because there has been military police and the Berkut, the riot squads, following protesters who have been beaten and hurt to hospitals and kidnapping them from the hospitals or as they're entering the hospitals and taking them away for allegations that they've been tortured and further abused by officials.
You know, it's interesting. We take the approach of encouraging the EU to provide sanctions. Are we also having a dialogue with Russia? Because it seems that Yanukovych has tacit approval from Russia.
Well, definitely that is the concern, is the Russian play here, as Yanukovych went and met with Putin just last week. Putin has been influencing Yanukovych and how he moves forward. There was a transfer of a couple of $2 billion from Russia to Ukraine just at the beginning of this week to help, well, supposedly to help them with their financial crisis. But I'm concerned that those dollars are being used to fund the police and military action that is being mounted against the Euromaidan protesters.
Okay, I want you to stay there for a couple of minutes. I want to continue this discussion, James. Thank you very much for sitting in. We'll be right back.